man. Shout out to my boy, the man, top of the top kennels, man. Got us right. Feel me? Got us a good little girl, right? With a big girl. This motherfucker big. Look at that body. That body, yaddy.
Hey man, I appreciate the business, man.
It's love,
she
man.
already loving it. Look,
It's love, man.
Two different color eyes.
You see her?
You know what I'm saying? That's Mocha and Zulu blood right there.
Top of the top.
Come on.
Imagine standing outside a home where you've always felt safe. A place filled with childhood memories, laughter, and love. But on this fateful evening, safety was just an illusion. What could stop a man poised for greatness? A champion, a hero standing at the threshold of glory, cut down in an instant. Why would anyone want to end the life of a rising star? In a matter of seconds, a rising star in the world of sports, a name etched in the hearts of fans, became the target of a brutal attack. The streets of South Los Angeles bore witness to a chilling crime, one that left more questions than answers. He had everything to live for, a career that was skyrocketing, a future bright with promise, and a fight that could have cemented his legacy just weeks away. But someone, or something, decided otherwise. Who could carry out such a cold, calculated act? Was it jealousy? Revenge? Or is it gang-related? And why did this tragedy unfold at the peak of his career, in the very place he called home? The answers remain hidden, as those responsible disappeared into the night, leaving a trail of heartbreak and unanswered questions. Mylik Birdsong was no ordinary boxer. Known to fans as King Milik, he dominated the welterweight division with a remarkable record of 15-1-1. His fists were not just weapons, but symbols of perseverance. In March 2024, he claimed the World Boxing Foundation International Welterweight Championship in a career-defining moment. But Milik wasn't just about the sport. He was a son, a brother, and a role model who lived to inspire. He wasn't only known for his strength in the ring, but also for his compassion outside it. He listened to stories of the less fortunate, fed the hungry, and made time for anyone who needed kindness. But just weeks before his most anticipated fight, fate intervened in the most horrific way. How could a man with so much to live for, so much to give, suddenly have it all ripped away? September 29, 2024, was supposed to be a day of joy, a family dinner, time with loved ones. But it became a nightmare. Milik stood outside his mother's house talking with his girlfriend when a dark-colored SUV appeared. Within moments, the sound of gunfire shattered the evening. Milik tried to run, desperate to escape, but the attackers pursued relentlessly. Shot multiple times, he collapsed just steps away from safety. Rushed to the hospital, there was a glimmer of hope. But the hope was fleeting. The champion of the ring, the champion of hearts, was gone. As we unravel the details of this tragic story, we want to hear your thoughts. What do you think happened to King Milik that night? Leave your answers in the comments below, as I would try to reply to everyone. Welcome to Mind Twist True Crime Stories, where all our stories are based on true crime. Kindly support us by subscribing to this channel, hit the notification bell icon so won't miss any new stories. This story takes us to the city of Los Angeles, often referred to as the City of Angels, is a sprawling metropolis known for its cultural diversity, stunning landscapes, and vibrant entertainment industry. From the iconic beaches of Venice and Santa Monica to the glitz of Hollywood, LA is a city of dreams, attracting millions of visitors and residents each year. However, beneath the city's allure lies a troubling rise in gun violence, which has become an increasingly pressing issue in recent years. While Los Angeles remains a cultural and economic hub, it has also seen an uptick in shootings and homicides that reflects broader trends in the United States. According to the Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD, in 2022, the city recorded 397 homicides, a significant increase from previous years. This was the highest number of homicides in Los Angeles since 2006, marking a troubling trend of rising violence. The increase in gun violence has been attributed to a variety of factors, most especially gang-related. In addition to gang-related violence, personal disputes, domestic violence, and the illegal possession of firearms have also contributed to the increase in shootings. The 2020s have seen a disturbing trend in which gun violence has affected not only individuals involved in criminal activity, but also innocent bystanders who become victims of random shootings. What does it take to achieve greatness in a world that throws every challenge at you? What motivates a young man to rise above impossible odds and stand on the brink of glory? Mylik Birdsong's journey wasn't typical. Born prematurely as one of triplets, he was the only one to survive. Doctors warned he wouldn't make it. His mother, Zonia Birdsong, refused to give up, nurturing the fragile child into a young man who would defy every expectation. From the early days, it was clear Mylik had a fighter's spirit. At the South LA Boxing Club, he honed that spirit. Coaches described him as respectful, disciplined, and committed. The gym was his sanctuary, a place where the noise of a tough neighborhood faded and only the sound of fists against bags remained. He wasn't just good, he was exceptional. With a record of 15-1-1 and 10 knockouts, Milik claimed the World Boxing Foundation International Welterweight Championship. His fight against Jerry Bradford was unforgettable. A unanimous victory that solidified his place among boxing's rising stars. But behind the gloves was a man with a heart just as strong. Milik was known for his acts of kindness, like the time he returned $100,000 in cash he found. His family called him outstanding, a role model not only for his victories, but for his character. To those closest to him, Milik wasn't just a champion. He was a son, a boyfriend, and a friend with big dreams. His girlfriend recalls his excitement about the October 26th fight, a moment he believed could change his life forever. But what happens when dreams are interrupted by violence? When a man with everything to live for finds himself in the crosshairs of tragedy? Do you believe greatness always comes with a price? Tell us in the comments below. Mylik's story was far from over, but as the shadows of September 29th, 2024 loomed closer, the question became, was his success the very thing that put him in danger? Stay with us as we uncover the night that changed everything. How does a quiet evening outside a family home turn into a nightmare of gunfire and loss? What really happened that night in South Los Angeles? September 29, 2024. It was a Sunday evening. He had just arrived for a family dinner, around 5 p.m. Mylik Birdsong stood outside his mother's home, a place he knew as a sanctuary, chatting with his girlfriend. The sun was beginning to dip, casting long shadows across the quiet street. The peace shattered in an instant. Right there in the presence of his parents and his girlfriend, a dark SUV approached slowly, almost too slowly, its tinted windows obscuring the faces inside. Then, without warning, two men stepped out, weapons drawn. Mylik reacted instinctively after a first shot to his shoulder, running for his life. He made it several steps before the attackers pursued, their shots ringing out with chilling precision. One bullet struck, then another, and another, which amounted to 7 shots. Paramedics arrived within minutes. They fought to save him, rushing him to the hospital, but the wounds were too severe. At just 31 years old, Mylik Birdsong, a champion in the ring, lost his fight outside it. The question remains, was this a calculated attack? A deliberate attempt to silence a rising star? Or was Milik an innocent man caught in the violence that plagues too many neighborhoods? To this day, the motives behind the attack remain unknown. No gang affiliations, no known enemies. So, why was Mylik Birdsong, a man loved by so many, targeted? Who were the men in the SUV, and what secrets did they take with them that night? Stay with us, as we are about to share with you the very possible reason why all these happened. Los Angeles streets buzzed with tension as the police scanner crackled to life that fateful evening. Shots fired, multiple suspects, black SUV fleeing westbound. A tragic loss had gripped the community, leaving one question burning in everyone's mind. Who would dare target a rising star with such ruthless precision? On September 29, 2024, 31-year-old boxing champion Mylik Birdsong was fatally shot outside his mother's home near 87th Street in Los Angeles. Witnesses reported a dark SUV pulling up, followed by a barrage of gunfire. Birdsong, standing with his girlfriend, tried to escape the chaos, but the assailants pursued him on foot, firing relentlessly. 7 bullets struck him before he collapsed in his driveway. Despite the urgency, the suspects vanished into the night, leaving no immediate clues behind. The vehicle description, a dark SUV, became a central focus of the LAPD investigation. Surveillance footage captured fleeting images of the car, but its plates were obscured. Witnesses were hesitant to come forward, fearing retribution.
Mother of boxer Mylik, Birdsong, says that her son was returning home for Sunday dinner when this happened.
She says that she watched gunmen execute her son just outside her home. Eyewitness News reporter Leo Starwood spoke with the grief-stricken mother.
The family of 31-year-old WBF International welterweight boxing title holder Mylik Birdsong says he was training hard for an upcoming title fight next month. That is, until tragedy struck.
It's senseless. It's just senseless. It don't make sense to me.
Zanya Birdsong left traumatized after she says she witnessed gunmen execute her son Milik just outside her South LA home late yesterday afternoon, just before 5.
I don't know how to process it. He's a triplet. I lost his other 2 brothers at birth. He survived it. It's like I'm numb.
Zanya says her son came home to join the family for Sunday dinner, and before he could even get out of his car, gunmen drove up and started firing at him. She says her son exited his vehicle and took off running, and the gunmen followed close behind him, shooting. She says her son fell to the ground on the side of her home. The gunmen stood over him and executed him. With her eyes closed, Zanya speaks to her precious boy.
I love you. I just love my baby. I love my baby. They murdered my child in front of me. In front of me. Who does that?
Police say 2 gunmen shot and killed Milik and took off in a getaway car. Police searching for the shooters and a motive. Milik's family says he was not a gang member or a troublemaker. They say his passion was boxing and helping the less fortunate.
We'll pass out food and ask homeless people, the less fortunate, what size you wear, are you hungry? And then he would sit with them and talk with them and ask them what happened.
As for the gunman who murdered her son,
I don't wish death on nobody, not even the ones who murdered him. I don't have it in my heart to wish death on nobody. That's not me.
The lack of cooperation compounded the challenges for law enforcement, stalling early leads. What could drive such a violent act against a man celebrated both in the ring and in his community? Investigators considered multiple angles. 1. Gang activity. South Los Angeles has long struggled with gang-related violence. Though Birdsong had no known gang affiliations, his prominence and visibility might have inadvertently made him a target in a larger, unrelated feud. 2. Jealousy. As a champion with growing fame, Birdsong attracted attention. Not all of it positive. Some wondered if envy or rivalry, possibly within his personal or professional circles, could have played a role. 3. Personal vendetta. Birdsong's relationships and personal life also came under scrutiny. Could a simmering conflict with someone close to him have escalated to deadly violence? As the investigation dragged on, frustration grew in the community. A promising life, a burgeoning career, and countless dreams were extinguished in a hail of bullets. Fans flooded social media with tributes, demanding justice for a man they admired for his discipline and kindness. But with no suspects in custody, every unanswered question became a painful reminder of the tragedy. What do you think is the motive behind this crime? Could it be gang-related, or does the answer lie closer to home? Share your thoughts in the comments, because sometimes the smallest clue can change everything. It was later gathered that Mylik was filed a lawsuit by Kamala Harris, the then Attorney General of California, for allegedly being an accessory to a robbery in 2010. Despite having these dark and haunting past, Mylik has since turned a new leaf, focusing in his boxing career and charity since he made his first debut as a boxer in 2017. However, reports from investigation after his death, authorities suggest that it might be a gang-related attack. Though he has risen to fame, police speculates that he might have had ties with a prominent street gang in Los Angeles. However, no substantial evidence has been provided to confirm these suggestions and suspicions. As of now, no arrest has been made. The LAPD is still putting together the puzzle, but new information might be just around the corner. The police is urging anyone with useful information should kindly come forward. What role did Birdsong's last known movements play in unraveling this case? Could there be a twist waiting to surface?
Yeah, and with developing news, a young boxer who was an inspiration to those who knew him was gunned down yesterday in front of his family in South LA. Fox 11's Hal Eisner, he's live with what his relatives are saying tonight. Hal?
Yeah, it's been a very sad day here in the South LA neighborhood. This is where Mylik Birdsong was shot and killed yesterday in the very neighborhood where he grew up.
I'm totally heartbroken. Because they did it in front of me.
Victor Taylor, Mylik Birdsong's stepdad, grieving over the murder of his stepson.
They assassinated my son in front of me.
Mylik's mom describing what she and Victor saw as two young men pulled up to the house.
So he just said, "What's up, bro?" And then they pulled out these guns. He took one shot to the shoulder first.
She says Mylik's girlfriend was threatened, and then Mylik got up and ran down the driveway.
And they both stood up over him with a Uzi and just, but he told me, "I don't bang."
Police say he was shot several times, died at a local hospital, and they're still looking for the suspects, who the family describes as young.
15, 20.
Younger than Mylik.
Baby's killing my baby.
Through the tears, they remember the 31-year-old, who they say was a great young man.
He ended up being a strong young man, and everybody loved him, and I'm super proud of him.
Super proud, not only because he had such successes in boxing, recently won a welterweight championship, but did so much for others.
He found a bag with jewelry and about $100,000 cash, and the man dropped it, and Mylik returned it to him.
To me, he was outstanding. He was outstanding, and he made me proud. He made me proud to be his mom.
His mother says Mylik was a triplet. The other two babies, she says, didn't survive. She even says doctors recommended Mylik be aborted at 5 months because it didn't look like he was going to survive. But he worked out, became strong, learned to box, and did some training at this South LA gym.
Good kid, came here, very respectful, disciplined, committed to what he wanted to.
Back at the family home.
I just want justice. You know, I want those that's responsible for it to be held accountable. That's all.
Those two shooters that were responsible here are still on the loose. Please say if you have any information at all, call the LAPD.
What is the true cost of gun violence? Not just to the victims, but to entire communities. How many futures must be erased before change becomes inevitable? Mylik Birdsong was more than a rising boxing star. He was a symbol of hope in South Los Angeles, a place where stories of triumph are often overshadowed by acts of violence. His promising career, which had already earned him the World Boxing Foundation welterweight title, was brought to a sudden and brutal end in September 2024 when two gunmen opened fire, leaving him fatally wounded. The attack didn't just steal a young man's life, it robbed his family, fans, and community of a beacon of inspiration. Gun violence is not an abstract concept here. It is a devastating reality. In South Los Angeles, black men like Birdsong face disproportionate risks, often caught in a web of systemic neglect, economic challenges, and persistent cycles of violence. Data reveals that this region experiences some of the highest levels of gun-related deaths in Los Angeles County, with ripple effects that extend far beyond the immediate victims. For every aspiring athlete, artist, or entrepreneur, there's a shadow of fear. Families like Milik's are left to grapple not only with grief, but also with the lingering question, could this have been averted? The trauma extends to children who witness violence, schools that lose students, and neighborhoods where safety feels like a distant memory. It's not just lives being taken, it's potential being erased, one bullet at a time. Activists point to deeply rooted systemic problems, underfunded schools, limited job opportunities, and entrenched gang culture as the breeding grounds for such violence. These are not new issues, but their persistence highlights a failure of policy and community investment. Efforts like partnerships between the LAPD and local organizations have emerged, providing mental health support and crisis intervention for families affected by gun violence. Yet critics argue that these steps, while valuable, fall short of addressing the structural inequities that perpetuate violence in the first place. So what steps can we take to stop this cycle? Is it better policing? More community resources? Or does the answer lie in tackling the root causes like poverty and lack of education? Birdsong's story is both a tragedy and a call to action. His family's loss reflects the broader crisis, a community crying out for change. Activists and residents alike stress the urgency of funding violence prevention programs, creating economic opportunities, and fostering safe spaces for young people to thrive. But with each passing day, the challenge grows to ensure that stories like Mylik's are not repeated, and that South Los Angeles becomes a place where dreams can flourish without the shadow of violence. What do you say to a mother who has just lost her son to senseless violence? How do you comfort a community left mourning a man who symbolized hope? The echoes of Mylik Birdsong's life are felt far and wide, but his absence leaves a void that words alone cannot fill. Mylik's mother, Lisa Birdsong, stood at the center of the tragedy, witnessing firsthand the unimaginable loss of her son. In an interview, she described him as her world, her everything. Her voice trembled as she recounted their last conversation, one filled with hope, laughter, and plans for the future. Lisa has since become an advocate for ending gun violence, speaking out about the systemic issues that led to her son's death. Her words serve as both a plea and a warning. If this can happen to my son, it can happen to anyone. If you could send one message of support to Lisa Birdsong, what would you say? Mylik's death sent a negative ripple effect through the boxing world. His coach, Robert Jenkins, who had trained Mylik since he was a teenager, described him as a once-in-a-lifetime talent. Mylik had this fire, this unbreakable spirit. He was destined for greatness, Jenkins said, holding back tears during a press conference. The World Boxing Foundation released a statement mourning the loss of one of their brightest stars, calling him an ambassador for the sport and an inspiration to young athletes worldwide. From fellow boxers to fans, the outpouring of grief was immense. Social media became a space for remembrance, with hashtags like Justice for Mylik and King Mylik trending in the days following his passing. Mylik's girlfriend, Jessica Alvarez, who was with him during the attack, shared her heartbreak in an emotional post. "You were my rock, my partner, my everything. I still hear your laugh, and it breaks me knowing I'll never hear it again." His stepfather, Marcus Lewis, described Mylik as a man who never stopped fighting for his dreams, for his family, for his future. He called on the community to honor Mylik by working together to bring an end to gun violence. Even neighbors spoke fondly of Mylik, recalling his infectious energy and the way he always had time for others, despite his rising fame. What are your favorite memories of Mylik Birdsong? If you never met him, what part of his story resonates with you most? Despite the tragic circumstances of his death, Mylik's legacy lives on. His story has inspired youth programs in South Los Angeles aimed at mentoring at-risk youth and providing opportunities in sports and education. His family, along with local activists, launched the Birdsong Foundation, dedicated to promoting peace and preventing gun violence. The foundation's motto, "Fight for a Future," reflects Mylik's indomitable spirit and his belief in the power of perseverance. As the boxing world continues to mourn, many are left grappling with the question, what could Mylik Birdsong have achieved if his life hadn't been cut short? Why does justice feel so elusive when it's needed most? The life of Mylik Birdsong, a young man brimming with potential, ended on a street where so many dreams have been stolen. But with every new lead, every new voice demanding answers, there is still hope. This story began with promise. A fighter from South Los Angeles who refused to be defined by his environment. Mylik Birdsong rose above the challenges, achieving what so few ever do. Yet in the span of moments, his light was extinguished by a violent act that left more questions than answers. The black SUV, the multiple gunmen, and the chilling precision of their actions paint a picture that is hard to ignore. Was this a case of mistaken identity? Or was someone determined to see Mylik silenced forever? To this day, the truth remains hidden. Mylik's family and friends haven't given up their search for answers. His mother, Lisa, continues to push for accountability, hoping that someone, somewhere, will come forward with the information needed to solve this case. The Los Angeles Police Department has kept the investigation open, but progress has been slow. In neighborhoods where silence often feels like a survival tactic, breaking that silence takes incredible courage. This isn't just about one man or one family. Mylik's story reflects the harsh reality faced by many in communities plagued by violence. How many more dreams have to be stolen before change is made? How many more families have to mourn loved ones taken too soon? As we reflect on Mylik's legacy, we're reminded of the work that remains. From gun control advocacy to creating safe spaces for youth, his story is a call to action, a reminder that every life matters and every voice can make a difference. To those watching, the search for justice doesn't stop here. If you know something about that night in South Los Angeles, if you've heard whispers, seen something suspicious, or have even the smallest piece of information, your voice could be the one that brings closure to this grieving family. And if Mylik's story resonates with you, stay connected. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates on this case or the many stories that deserve to be heard. Let's build a community that demands accountability and refuses to accept silence. The search for justice continues. Will it come in time for Mylik Birdsong's family? Only time will tell. Stick around because we has more latest crime stories for you.